Hello, cat aspirants. Welcome to another episode of Build the Cat series. Today, we'll be looking one of the most trickiest problem from last decade of cat. This appeared in the DILR section of cat 2023. So, without wasting any time, let's get started. So, this is the coaching class problem. So, the information that we have is we have a coaching class where the students register both online and offline, and no student registers online and offline both. Hence, the total registration number is the sum of online and offline registrations. Also, we have the minimum, maximum, and median values of months January to May for a particular year of 2023. So, this is the information that we have. We also have some other information with us. So, we have, like, in the first point, it's mentioned that all the registration numbers are multiples of 10. Then, if you see point 2, 3, and 4, they are mostly the comparative statements. Like in January, the number of offline registrations is twice that the online registrations. In April, the number of online registrations is twice that of the offline registrations. And also, the number of online registrations is March is same as the number of offline registrations in February. So these are comparative, like one value is twice the other, or same as the other, something like that. And the fifth point is an absolute statement, like the number of online registration is largest in the May. So to solve this problem, we will be following a standard set procedure, which will allow you to solve any DILR problem on this planet Earth. So let's see first what is the first step. So always when trying to solve a problem where you are confused and you don't know how to start with it, always tabularize the information that you have and identify what are the variables that you need to find out. So this is the table which I am trying to fill out here. In the first column I have all the months listed, then I have the students online numbers registrations, offline registrations in column 2 and 3, and their total in the last column. So once I fill out this particular table, my problem is solved. So this is the perfect solution that I'm looking for, filling out this particular table. Next, now let's try to find out a table from where we will be picking out the values from our possible solution set that we have. So we know that there are five numbers for online registration, five numbers for offline registration, and five numbers for total registration. So we'll be taking these 15 values and filling it out in the green table that we previously saw. So for online, what is the minimum value? The first value. So the minimum value we will be calling the first value. The second minimum we'll be calling the second value. The median we'll call the third value or the middle value. Fourth value will be called the second maximum will be calling the fourth value, and the largest value will be calling the largest value or the maximum value. So for online, the first value is 40, last value is 100, middle value is 80. That's clear. We have that. Now, the second value, right? Second value for online, it could be 40, 50, 60, 70, or 80, including 40 and 80. Because I don't know. If I still go with 40, 40, 80, still also median is 40 and minimum is 40. So I can place 40, 50, 60, 70, or 80. The second value can be within these five values. Similarly, the fourth value could be between 80, 90, and 100. That's something which we can find out and place here the possible values. Similarly, for offline, first is 30, largest is 80, middle is 50. So second would be from 30, 40, 50, and fourth would be from 50, 60, 70, 80. Similarly for total, first is 110, last is 130, middle is 120, second can be 110 or 120, and fourth can be 120 and 130. So what I'm trying to do now is I'll be taking these values from the blue table and filling out the green table. That's what I have to do. So the first step, we listed out what we need to find out. Second step, we listed out from what we need to place the values from. Okay, now let's look at the information that we have. And let's go one by one and try to fill out this green table. We have not applied any reasoning yet. We have just converted the information into a format from where we can easily identify the information and fill out the information. Now, the number of online registrations is largest in May. So the number of online registration largest is 100. So I'll be placing 100 here. Since this is the largest, so no other month would have the value of 100. Therefore, what I can do is this fifth value from online, right, largest value, that is being placed in the green table now for May online. Therefore, I can strike it off. So this value is already consumed. So I cannot consume it again now. Also, this fourth value, right, which can take the values from 80, 90, 100, now it cannot take the value 100 because May is the largest. So I can remove the value of 100 from possible values for the fourth value from online. Now, next information that I have is January, the offline registration is twice the online registration. So the minimum value of online is 40. The minimum set of online is 40. The minimum number in the set of online is 40. So if I take the value of 40, then I have the offline corresponding twice value of 80, which is possible. But if I go beyond 40, right, if I go, let us say 50, then I don't have 100 corresponding in offline. Therefore, I'll have to place 40 in January for online and 80 for offline. Now, see the beauty of this table blue that we have. This 40, right, this can be from first value of online or second value of online. I mean, there can be two 40s also here. So if I have to place another 40 in the online column in the green table, I can still do that. Hence I am not striking it off. Similarly, for the 80 offline table, offline column, right, this 80, it can be either from row 4, like the fourth value, or row 5. So I can place two 80s in offline column. I don't know how many 80s are going to be there in the offline column yet. It can be one or it can be two. So I'm just not striking this, eliminating this particular condition right now. So the total of January would be 120. And again, this 120 can be from second value of total, third value of total, or fourth value of total. So at max, three 120s can also come in the total column, which I'm not ruling out the possibility right now. Next. So far, so good. Now let's look at the next. So in April, we have the number of online registrations that was twice the offline registrations. So the minimum value that is possible for offline is 30. So if I take 30 as offline, then I'll have to take 60 for online, which is possible. 60 is one of the possible values which I can take from the online column. So, but the total adds up to 30 and 60, 90. And I don't have 90 in the total column. So 30 I cannot place. Then let's go with 40. So if I take 40, corresponding double value from online is 80, which is possible. I have a spare 80 that I can place there. But that's a possible scenario. But if I go beyond 40, then I don't have a corresponding 100 in online. So that means we know that for April, the offline registrations were 40 and in April they were 80. Now, total would definitely be 120. But before that, see this. The second, if I have to place a 40 in the offline column, then I will have to utilize my second value only because none of the other values can take the value of 40. Hence, the second value from the offline column would be 40 and that is being consumed here. So I am going to strike it off. I cannot use it again now. Again. So total would be definitely 120. So 120 is something which definitely now we know comes twice in the total column. Three other values are still left. Now going to the next part. So the number of online registrations in March and the offline registrations in February is the same. So the value that we can take same from online and offline, we need to find that out. So we don't have 13 online, so we cannot use 30, but we have 40, which also we don't have in the offline column. We don't have a 40, so either it has to be 50, 60, 70, or 80. 90 we don't have in the offline column. So these two values, they can vary between these four values right now. I can place any of them, but these two has to be same. But it can be between 50, 60, 70, or 80. So this is the information that I have. So I have consumed all the given information to me in the problem. Now, now let's try to apply some reasoning. So first thing, uh, the minimum value that is for offline, right? That is 30. I don't have 10 or 20 here, and then I have 50 available. So let's consider May. So May offline I cannot put 50, because if I put 50 the total will go up to 150, which is not possible. I don't have a value of 150 in the total column. So I will have to place 30 only in the offline column for May. So let's place 30 there. So if I'm placing 30, the first value of offline, right, that is being consumed, and the total is obviously 130. So I'm going to strike this 30 off. That is already consumed. I cannot consume it again. So 130, one of the total is 130, which I have, which is there for May. There is one more, 130 that I can still place, because it can be 110, two 120s and two 130s. That's also one possibility of total. But there definitely has to be one 110, like the minimum value, right? That is 110. So either February has to be 110, or March has to be 110 in the total. So definitely one 110 has to be there. So let's place 110 in February first. If I place 110 in February, and now let's apply some reasoning and go through all the possible offline values in February to see if we can come up with a total of 110 for February. If I take 50 for offline for February, then online will also be 50. So if online is 50 for March, then the second value of online has to be 50. Okay, because no other value is 50. And there is already 140 placed for January. Hence, the only possible value for February online has to be between 80 or 90. And if I have 80 or 90 in online, then offline, which is 50, it adds up to 130 or 140, which is not the case, because I have already, for I have considered that the total in the February would be 110. Let's go through it again. Let's take 60 now. So if I take 60, the online March will also become 60. And try to see from where this online March of 60 is coming from. This is coming from the second value which is present in online. So if I'm, if I'm assuming that the second value in online is becoming 60, then 40 is already consumed, because first I had the leverage of, you know attaching this 40 from 1 or 2 to January online. But now, since the online second is 60, then I have to make the 40 from first one as here in January online. So in that case, the value for February online would be again from 80 or 90. That's the only possible values that are left. So if I add 80 or 90 to 60, it goes beyond 130. It becomes 140 and 150. Hence, which is obviously, what we have not considered. We have considered the value as 110. Hence, I cannot place similar. If you do similar for 70 and 80, right, this would come out to be more than 110, the total. Hence, I cannot place 110 in February. So I'll have to place 110 in March. That is something. This is one of the most trickiest part of this problem. Placing this minimum value of 110 in the total table, in the total column. Once I place this in March, now the things are going to be becoming simpler from here end. So if this is 110, again, what we are trying to do is, if this is 110, we are trying to find the corresponding value of offline in March, so that we can see if this value can become 110 or not. That was not possible for February, but but definitely it has to be now possible for March. But for which value of online is something we need to see. Let us take 80 for now. If I take 80, right, so this also has to become 80. So if this becomes 80, since we have already consumed 50, 30 and 40, the minimum value that offline can take is 50, 60, 70, or 80. So if I add 50 also to 80, it becomes 130. If I add 60, it will go beyond 130. Hence, I cannot take 80 as a value in online. Similarly, if I take 70, then I'll have to make this 50 or 80. See, if I take 70, the 70 is the offline counterpart is coming from the fourth value of offline. That means the only values left would be 50 and 80. And if I add 50 or 80 to 1 to 70, then this goes beyond 110 or beyond 130 also. So I cannot make it 70 also. But if I make it 60, then this 60 is coming from again the fourth value of offline. But 60 and 50, this can make 110. So definitely 60 is a possible value for online in March. If I take that 60, the corresponding offline would all be 50 to make it 110. Again, if I make this 50 in March online, then the corresponding can be 60, and I'll still have 60 left in offline, so I can place 60 here. So this 50 and 60 will also add up to 110. So there are two possible values in March of 50 and 60, which still can make the solution possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make it 40 and 50 and 60. So the corresponding offline values which we just calculated would be 60 and 50. And again, if March online is 50 and 60, so the corresponding February online would also be 50 and 60. So this is something which we know. Now let's come to February. Now let's come to February. If March is 50, now let's look at the online column. If March is 50, then 40, first value goes to January, second 50 goes to March, second is assuming 50 and it's going to March, third and fourth, one of them is 80 and it's going to April. So what February values are left now? It's 80 or 90. So if I take 50, then I will have to make this 80 or 90. If this is 50, the offline in February is also 50. If I make it 90, it goes beyond 130, it becomes 140. Hence, for 50, I will have to make it 80 only. Let's take 60 now. If I take 60, then again I have February values 80 or 90 only possible. But if I add 80 or 90 now to 60, it goes beyond 130. So the only possible value for March online is 50. If March online is 50, then what we have is, then the online February would be 80. That's the only possible value. And again, if March online is 50, then February offline would also be 50 and March offline would also be 60. And obviously the total of February would be 130. So this is one my possible solution. So see what I have. Let's recheck our green and blue tables now quickly. So the first value of 40, online first value, the minimum value 40 is being assigned to January. Second value of online, this has to assume a value of 50 and it is being assigned to March. The third value is of 80, which I'm assigning to February. The fourth value, which could take the values from 80 and 90, it's taking the value of 80 and this is being assigned to April. There are two 80s, so there is no month with 90, so 90 is struck off, and 100 that is being assigned to May. For offline, the first value of 30, it is assigned to May. Second value of 40 is assigned in April. Third value, it's 50 and it's being assigned in February. Fourth value is taking the value of 60 and it's being assigned in March. And final fifth value of 80 is being assigned in January. Similarly for total, the minimum value is being assigned in March, 110. Second value is assuming the value of 120, it's being assigned in January. Third is taking the value of 120, being assigned in April. Fourth is taking the value of 130, being assigned in February. And fifth is being taken the value of 130 again, which is being assigned in May. So this completes my final possible solution. Now let's look at the questions quickly. So now it's very simple from now on. So what is the total number of registrations in April? We can just see what is the total number of registrations in April. The answer is 120. Next we have is what is the number of online registrations in January. So the online registrations in January is 40. So answer is 40. Third, we have two statements and we need to see what of the statements are true or false. So the number of offline registrations is smallest in May. Yes, it's smallest in May. It is 30, which was the first value of the offline column. Then the total number of registrations is smallest in February. No, that's not the right answer because it's maximum, it's 130. So only option 1 is correct. So it's option D, only 1. So the correct answer is option D. Next we have is what best can be concluded about the number of offline registrations in February. So offline registrations in February were 50. So answer here is option D, 50. Last we have is which pair of months definitely had the same number of registrations. So January and April they both have 120. So definitely first, and February and May they both have 130. So the option is option A, both 1 and 2. That's the right option. So what did we learn from this particular problem? First thing is these are some of the problems where you cannot just look at some of the information and answer any of the questions. For answering any of the questions in the set, what you have to do is you'll have to solve the complete problem. And since there are a lot of possible nodes and paths that you can take to reach out the final solution, there is a possibility that you miss on some of these, and that way you will be landing the wrong answer. Also, always try to apply the reasoning towards the end of the problem. First, always, put down whatever the given things are and whatever the things are, and then only try to apply the reasoning, you know, then only you'll be able to narrow down on the possible paths that you have. So, any given problem on any entrance exam, be it CAT, GMAT, anything, if you take this particular approach, you will be able to solve any problem in reasoning. So, this is the approach. First, list the given and what is to be found. The green table that we did. So, there were 15 values to be found out, and then there will be values from which you need to find. So, second step is list all the possible values in the solution set. That was the blue table. Then what we need to do is fill out the green table from the blue table. That's what we need to achieve. So first step is listing the green table. Second step is finding the solution set, that is the blue table. Third is mapping the values from the blue table to the green table based on the given conditions. Like the condition was in May, the number of online registrations were maximum. So this is the given information conditions. So map the values which are possible to map. Then once you have listed what was given, then you need to apply your reasoning skills to narrow down like which particular now possible values from the solution set would be attached or just tagged to from the green table or the answer set. Once you have done the reasoning, always remember you'll reach the final solution. The final solution can be an empty solution also. Like you will not be able to apply your reasoning and you'll not be able to fill out. Like sometimes CAT gives a half possible solution also, that you will be only able to find out half the final solution, not the full. So you'll be only able to, let us say, fill out 10 of the 15 values. 5 will still remain empty. But the final solution is only the solution which has the 10 values fixed. Remaining 5 will be the floating values. So that ways you will have multiple solutions possible always. So always remember there could be multiple solutions possible. So never, you know, give up on any of the scenario. Always consider all the scenarios. So using this 5 steps approach, you will be able to solve any problem on reasoning anywhere in any entrance exam. So this was all about for this particular episode. Hope you have learned something today. You can tell us in the comments from any exam. You can put any reasoning question and we'll try to provide you an answer to that particular problem in our next episodes. Still then, stay motivated, stay focused, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.